There, now I have the share.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to AGENT21. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are just getting started here, getting some technical issues out of the way. So good to see all of your faces. And I'd like to introduce Kelly LaBrosse. She is going to be presenting for us today. Kelly is in our Mille Lacs offices out of Isle, Minnesota, and she is going to teach us all about the new seller presentation in Moxi Present. We're so excited. You guys, this literally is the differentiator and how we are going to win more listings. The CMA is amazing, and Kelly is so good at showing us around because she herself uses this and can't speak highly enough about it. So Kelly, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Carla. Hopefully, technology will continue to cooperate. I've got my phone with my camera and my computer with the screen that I'm sharing. So hopefully my computer will keep up with me. I really enjoy using the Moxi CMA presentation, and I know different people, have different presentations, but I was recently working with one of our agents in the office, and he wanted to really impress these sellers that he was working on a presentation for. So he's like, well, how can I do that? Like, well, we're going to do it in Moxi, and we're going to do the brand new 2025 template that they just put out at the end of the year, because it really does look nice. And when you're kind of going for a higher class property, you really want to do something impressive. So that's what I'm gonna show you is what I went with. It's going to be in Moxi Present. My computer is slow. See when it catches up there. There we go. And I believe Century21 updates their presentations every year or so. So if you have presentations that you've done in the past, and maybe you've saved a template that you really like to use, you can go in when they update it and change and make a new template, which is also something that I'm going to do, because this new one really does look nice, and it's different than the last one, but it has basically the same sort of format. So we're going to go up and we're going to create a new. Is it going to work? Create new. There we go. All right, and we're going to do a seller presentation. And this is where you're going to find the new template. So you're going to click on the drop-down menu, and you're going to go to Century21 Real Estate. And it is the Century21 Residential Seller Presentation. And they have an English version and a Spanish version. So I'm going to select that. There are 36 pages. And I like to do total finished square feet when I'm doing a CMA. And I'm going to name I'm gonna name this one a little differently just because it's not for anybody. But I would generally either put the name of the people or the property address as the presentation name. Click on create. All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is enter the information for the listing. And if it was on the MLS previously, you should be able to pull that information through the MLS number. Now, this one was really like a long time ago. There are only 5 numbers in the MLS number, so I'm not sure if it will pull it up. No, MLS number not found. It's too old. So if it's when it's not going to pull it up, or if maybe it's not been listed, then you can just go ahead and enter the information manually. Contacts, this is connected to your Moxi Engage. So if you already have the contact entered in your Moxi Engage, you should be able to pull them up. I just am going to use a person as an example, and I'm not going to send this to her because it's not her property. I'm just going to enter the address. Zip code. And enter the basic information, subject, property type, bedrooms, bathrooms. Total finished square feet. Your bill. And I would generally put in the parcel number, the county, lot size, lot dimensions, put in as much information as I have. Detached garage, 2. And then if you have a picture, you can up the picture. Sometimes you can take them offline, or if you've been to the property and you've snapped a picture, it's always nice to use that. Do you have some pictures for this? Oh. Okay, so it's uploading a picture. There we go. And remarks. I always like to put something in here. If it doesn't have anything from the MLS, you don't want to just have a bunch of blank spots. So the more that you put in, the better your presentation will be. And I'm going to keep it short for presentation's sake. And we're going to continue. And then, oh. So it asked me if I wanted to update my contact engage with this address, which I didn't because it's not her address, but it's another nice feature. So when we go to comps, there's two ways that you can do it. It will automatically pull the location and it will pull comps in a certain area around it. And it does put filters in as default. So it's got the single family in there, and it defaulted to a couple hundred square feet, a few hundred square feet more. And it looks like that's pretty much what it did on that side. And then it does include active, sold for the last 6 months. And then if you don't change it, it's got all of the other things. So if you want to get rid of, sale fell through, other, some people use expireds, not everybody uses expireds, off market. So you can customize that to what you would like. And then apply. And then I'm going to try to get as close, obviously, as I can to the subject. There are a lot of solds over there. Get some pending and active if there are any. That's been a little harder to come by. And then when you have the comps you want, you scroll to the bottom and click on continue. Now, the other way that you can do this, sometimes in rural areas or lake areas, if we're trying to get really specific about comps, and the fields aren't necessarily in here to filter by, I will go to the MLS and I'll find my comps there, and then I'll just copy those MLS numbers, and I'm going to go back here. Computer catch. Here we go. So if you want to do it that way, you'll just click on the little button next to MLS number, and then you're going to copy and paste your MLS numbers right in this box and hit the search button. And then it's the same practice. You just click on the ones that you want, scroll to the bottom, and continue. So however you want to get your comps, whatever best suits your area or the type of property that you're looking for, there's a couple ways that you can do that. So now I have 3 solds, 2 active, and 1 pending. If you want to make adjustments, you can make adjustments to each property just by clicking on Add Edit Adjustment. Hopefully you're able to find comps that you don't need to adjust. Sometimes that's not possible. Maybe if you're doing a larger land property, the difference in acreage might need to be adjusted, or maybe there aren't enough comps that have the same type of garage, so maybe you need to adjust for a garage. You can kind of do that here. So I'll just say maybe this property has a 4-car garage and we're going to subtract a certain amount for the extra garage space and click confirm. The other thing that I've run into that happens occasionally is I will know about comps that aren't on the MLS. Maybe they were a facilitator or private sale, something that isn't pullable from the MLS. You can add a custom listing by just clicking on this button up here, Add Custom Listing. And just like the subject, the more information that you enter about the comp, the better comp that it will be. So I'm not gonna enter one, but you would just go through that same process as if you were entering the actual subject. And then there's a place for list price, sold price. You'd want to make the current status sold. It'll ask for date sold, all of that information. Are there any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Am I missing anything that anybody wants me to cover? Okay. I will move on to the next step. So we've got all of our comps that we want, and now we're going to get rid of that.
Kelly, Karen did ask if there's more info on value of adjustments. She doesn't know what to enter for a bedroom, etc.
I've been asked that question before. I don't have a really good answer for that, except for if you can, talk to an appraiser and see what kind of adjustments they might make for certain things. I kind of had some standards that I had been using, but I think costs have gone up, and I probably need to revisit how I came across my my numbers that I do use. But I would try to find someone that might know the value of a single car stall in a garage. What's the difference between a 2-stall and a 1-stall? If it's a brand new garage, it might be a higher value. If it's an old rickety garage, there might not even be any value. So you do have to kind of use your judgment, along with hopefully some knowledge from someone that knows a little bit more about that. Does anybody have any better answers on that, or any sources? Maybe share that in the chat. I don't know why I can't see if someone chats. Maybe if I do that. Yeah, so if anybody does have ideas for that, I usually keep it pretty simple on my adjust. I'll adjust for for like a garage situation. I'll adjust for a big acreage difference. I don't necessarily get into the dirt with like number of bedrooms or bathrooms unless it's really a major difference. Then I don't know if I necessarily want to use that. Square foot, you can use like the average price per square foot that you're coming up with as a square foot average adjustment if you wanted to. But if anybody does have any ideas on that, please share them in the chat. I'm going to continue to the valuation. And, oh, Belinda says, NAR, MAR, or other platforms have some articles. Perfect. So that would be something that we could do a search on one of those sites for. One thing to note, if you do have adjustments, it will figure in the adjustments in this data that it gives you, which if you're using the MLS CMA tool, the North Star MLS, it does not do that, which can be a little bit irritating because it doesn't really show up in the report as much either. So this one, it gives you a estimated price based on the average sales. And it also gives you a price based on the square footage of the property. So generally what I'll do is a range of those two numbers. So, you know, and this is in a perfect world. This is in a perfect world where all of the comparables are pretty good and it's a pretty close area and everything is pretty static. You know, not only the values, but also the conditions are similar. I would be pretty comfortable in that, you know, using that. And I might, you know, say 381 to 394. Oh, Sarah says, with rural and lakeshore properties up here where we are, square footage often doesn't take priority as much as shoreline type of acreage, etc. Yeah, exactly. And I will make adjustments also for like shoreline footage on lakeshore properties if I can't find properties with the same type or amount of lakeshore, and type of acreage also. If it's farmland, your prices are going to be different than if it's wooded hunting land. Hopefully, again, you can get comps that reflect that, but sometimes it, you know, life isn't perfect and we have to make adjustments. So then I would make some, you know, remarks about the range that I came up with. And I also like to talk to the sellers when I'm presenting this about the quality and the range and also their motivation and how fast they want to get it sold versus if, you know, if they've got plenty of time, you know, maybe they would want to start at the higher number, but if they really want to get it sold, maybe they would want to start at the lower end of the range. If you're looking to try to get multiple offers, you know, starting, you know, at a little lower range might give you a better opportunity at that. So however you figure out how you price it, everybody's kind of got their own way that they price and they present. So got a couple more comments. Sarah says, I really don't focus on that. I take some of the template out that focus on square footage. I find the presentation becomes overwhelming with all the charts they have. I usually get it down to 10, 12. I will take out the charts in all of my presentations unless I have that one type of buyer that's like the engineer that likes to analyze everything. That's the only person I give charts to. Belinda said, have other agents found sellers want to talk about their home is better than the comp? Oh, always. And Belinda also likes to shorten them. Too many pages overwhelm clients. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, two-stall garage is around 40 to 50K now. Yeah, the days of $20,000 garages are over. Totally agree with that. A nice garage on a property, if you can ask someone if they've got what I like to call a garage mahal, what they paid for it, you can also use that to a degree as an adjustment. So when it comes to adjustments, having a little bit of knowledge like that is really nice to have. Contractors, they can be great sources of knowledge. Let's see. So once you get the value, you get that figured out, then you're going to go on to one thing I did not touch on. I'm going to actually go back to the estimate. I always like to include a net sheet in my CMAs, and they do have the estimated net proceeds tab here. So you can put in the estimated sale price. You can put in, and I do kind of think it's nice to have the brokerage fees broken down, especially now with the changes. Escrow fees. I usually do put in at least half of the annual property tax. And then I, of course, let them know that it's going to depend on when they close. The state deed tax. Up here, we do have a lot of, septic and wells that need inspections. So I'll put that cost in if I know their mortgage. And then always make sure you hit save. If you don't hit save, it won't put that information in there. I've learned that the hard way. And then continue. So this is where I like to kind of break it down into pieces. The template that they have is 36 pages long, and I definitely don't like to do all of that. I do try to keep a lot of the informational parts, and I do get rid of in this new one you can click on each page and see if it's something that you like. And it's different than the last year's. I kind of like that it's going through the process with them. It's talking more about seller representation, talking about showcasing their home, and some of the information is the same as the past ones. It's just presented a little differently. But you can delete any pages that you don't want simply by clicking the X to remove them, which I am going to do. They do have in here something at the end, which is new. They've got a glossary and key terms. Now, depending on who your client is, you may want to keep that in there, but if there's someone that's a seasoned seller, they kind of know what they're doing, you probably want to get rid of that. They know what escrow means. They know, you know, key terms. First-time home buyers, I would think that this is really helpful though. Or even someone that maybe hasn't done it in 30 years. So I'm just going to delete those for this one. And then in the property information, I am going to delete, you've got these price and days on market charts. I usually delete that one. The price and size chart, I delete that one. If you don't want to have all of the comparisons, you can delete some of those. It can get a little bit redundant. Maybe just like this format better than that format, and choose one that works for you, but cut it down to the number that you feel comfortable with. And I also wanted to highlight that you can also add a page. So say you don't want to use the net sheet that they have. Maybe you've got your own net sheet that you would rather use. You can delete the net sheet, net proceeds page, and you can add your own, create new, and you can upload a PDF, or you could even build a page if you wanted to do something a little different. I do think it's nice to add, like with this one that we did, that I did with Mike on Monday, he wanted to have some of his Real Satisfied testimonials. So we went into Real Satisfied, downloaded some of the information, and we created a page using this create new, build a page. So there's options of customizing it to different, you know, to showcase different things that might not be included in here. Other ideas you could include, like in Sarah's area and our area, you could include lake information. You could include data about an area, just in general, and how sales or the market is. You really can do a lot. And if you wanted to add a different page, you can add pages that are already created. There are like my pages that I've already uploaded. I've got my testimonials. I've got a different, an estimated net sheet that I used on a different property. There's brokerage pages that are Atwood specific, and I know Carla's created a bunch of different things, and they're kind of categorized. And then there are also the Century 21 pages. So you can look through and add just about anything that you want, or if there's something specific that you wanted, you could find it in there. Maybe you like a page that isn't in this presentation, but it's back a couple years, you could find that and add it. Yeah. And then once you have your presentation, then it's all in how you want to present it to the sellers. For myself, I like to break it down into 2 different stages, and I like to take, let's see, I'm gonna view the print version of this. And I like to print the marketing pieces and take them with me for my first visit to the property or visit with the sellers. And I like to leave that with them so they've kind of got stuff to go and look at. I'm not going to go through it necessarily with them, but I like to have all of that marketing and the process and all of that informational part printed out, ready to go, bring with me to the initial presentation. And then I like to do the CMA part. for my second visit. And I know everybody's kind of got their different processes, and what works for me might not work for you. And honestly, there are times when I don't meet the sellers on the first time I visit the property. So that might not work for that kind of scenario. But I do like to kind of shorten it up by breaking it into two pieces, the marketing piece and then the pricing piece. And then when I do meet with them to talk about the pricing piece, then I email them the full presentation so that they have it. They can, they can go through it. They can click on the pictures. And when I'm talking to them, when I'm presenting it, I make sure that I let them know, like the digital version that you have in your email, you can really dig into the pictures of the comps. You can see, how this one compares to that one. And some people like that, some people don't care. So you can kind of look at your sellers and kind of gauge their level of wanting to interact with things. Some people just want to sign papers and get it done. So you always have to just kind of gauge your presentation by your seller's needs also. It is taking a little while to load. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Different ways that they like to use this or present with sellers?
Kelly, on that online version, like if you email it to them, those comps are updating. Like if they were to look at it in 2 months, it's updating. And so it's kind of good if you're going to be talking to them, if maybe something didn't happen, but 2 months later, that you're also reviewing because that data may have changed, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Great point. Definitely something that you want to point out to them as well. And also, like, if you have been on the market 2 months and you haven't sold, maybe we want to relook at that CMA and see what's happened with those comps. But you maybe want to do it first before you suggest that they do it, just to make sure that it's a good point to make. But that's one of the other great features, is that it is live, it does update, and it really is a great presentation. And I have won more listings using this presentation. I recently went on a commercial presentation using the Century 21 commercial presentation. I went up against a seasoned agent in our area, and the seller's feedback just made my day. She said, "Your presentation was so much more professional. His was sloppy. It was just, some papers. It just wasn't impressive at all." Hey, Mike. So I won that one just because of my presentation. Okay, Sarah's got a comment. Sometimes I'll add the tax info and county sketch as extra pages if you don't have a ton of information on the property. Yes, we use it every day, but forget the sellers don't, and it just adds more value. Absolutely. It shows that you've done your research too. It shows that you're digging in and doing some work. I love that. Candy said, maybe I missed it, but did you say you just email them? Do you go over it on a computer with your client? I don't go over it on the computer generally unless they're coming to the office. My computer is not that impressive. And I don't have a tablet to do that on. What I do is I do physical copies that I hand to them, and then I email it to them so they have it for a resource that they can check out. So I do go over it. I just go over it in person, generally. Any other questions or thoughts or? And Mike just walked in. How did your seller presentation go?
Excellent. Listed on.
Awesome. He said his presentation went excellent and they're going to list it on March 1st. So,
Yeah. Little comments from the past.
client
People
testimonials.
love those.
Yeah, great.
So those really help.
Nice. The testimonials, he said they really enjoyed and really helped. I'm not sure if you could see him behind me. But yeah, I mean,
Simply the best. He said it doesn't get any better.
oh yeah, I mean, those testimonials are gold. And I do have mine as a part of my template that I have saved. But you can see that it's pulled up the PDF version, and the PDF version is 83 pages long. And I never print all of those pages. I'll print all of the marketing pages, leave those for the first visit generally. And then when I'm printing the CMA part, I just print the basic pages. I don't print the 5-6 pages of photos for each property because that's just a waste of paper. And I always make sure that I let them know, you can go to the online version, you can see all of the pictures, you can click on them, get all of the information about the properties. Anything else? Let me show you the web version. Another nice feature just about Moxi in general is when people actually open the presentation, you can see that in Moxi Engage. So the Moxi modules working together really is a nice feature. There are times when you'll call and you'll leave a message to follow up, and all I'm thinking of is like, did they like it? What did they think? Are they, did someone do a better job? What are they thinking? But I can go into Moxi Engage and I can see, like, did they open it? Oh yeah, they opened it. Oh, they're looking at it a lot. They've looked at it like 5-6 times. Or I could see maybe they've never opened it. In which case I might follow up and say, by the way, I just wanted to remind you that I sent you that presentation. If you don't see it in your inbox, check your spam, because sometimes it will end up in someone's spam simply because it's coming through a program. So that is another thing to follow up. If you don't see that they're opening it in Moxi Engage, definitely follow up and make sure that they got it. So this is the digital version. You can just scroll through, the digital version is only 30 pages. Like, all of those extra photo pages is a lot. So you can click through. If you do Candy, do you present it on your computer and do you do it all at once? Because you can go through all of this with them together, kind of highlight on the important pieces, things they can do. A lot of times people will have questions about staging or what they should do to get their house ready. There's some things that are addressed in here about that. Candy does do it on her computer. And do you do it all on your computer? So do it all at one time? 2 steps. Yeah. I like the 2 steps also. Yeah, there's all sorts of great information in here. And I mean, they've just really made it look so professional and so polished. I don't know how anybody could not be impressed. And then, you know, getting to the comps. It's got the property summary, the map with where the listings. Yeah, I'm not sure how to able microphones. I don't know if that's something Carla or Matt could do. Okay, Carla just enabled it.
Okay. So I do the 2-step also. So, but I just do everything electronically, but then I do email it to them also.
Okay.
So like my first meeting is meeting the house, and then I sit down and talk about who I am and how I don't really say how I'm going to market their house yet, because I do put together a marketing plan for each house.
Okay.
But I just kind of talk a little bit about who Century 21 is, who I am, kind of some, some things that I do, but then I tell them I'll put together a marketing plan for your house. Because, like some might need, more video footage, it might need drone, might need, the postcards, and, is it a property we're going to do door to door knocking and let them know that we have it, we have the listing. And then the second one is we spend just a little bit of time on the marketing part first of how I'm going to actually market the house, and then I go into the comps. But I like it that way, because then you're not spending an hour and a half. You're going to lose their attention if you sit there for that long.
Right. Right. Yeah, they could get lost in all of that and then not even be paying attention to the comps by that time.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they really just want to know what their house is, where you're going to price it at, and what it's going to cost them.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I do the 2-step too. I try to get the marketing stuff and the Century 21 stuff through first, and then focus on what they really want to know. Sarah says she has some older clients that prefer paper, but email it to afterwards, as clicking around on the electric version is really helpful, especially if they want to check out the comps and photos. Carla, I don't know if you're able to enable video, but I have a little report cover for the paper version that is helpful for a full polished put together look. Well, that's nice. Yeah. We have a lot of elderly clients also that really like the paper version. And there are, maybe some younger people that I would just email it to it. Maybe we do it electronically, but I think our biggest population up here are probably those olders that do prefer the paper. So that's why I still use a lot of paper. I'm gonna
So when
stop.
Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes.
So when I started first at Century, they had like a heat press machine at our Fergus Falls office that you could take your presentation and like staple it and then, make a nice sleeve on it. I found that these there's like little 3-pack of report covers.
Oh, yeah.
Super helpful. I'm like, I'm gonna try it out. I found these actually at the Dollar Tree. So I'll just take one of the report sleeves and with my little presentation, cover it over, and then this little sleeve just fits on there. And it
Nice.
really makes it look like a polished, put together look. And it takes about this long to put it together. So
Nice.
it really is a nice little look, and it's 33 cents. So
Yeah.
it's a much more, I'm always looking for like efficiency, quick, on the go kind of thing. So rather than do that heat press thing, this is much more quick, and it looks, compared to some of the other agents like CMAs, it's really a nice little way to give a
Yeah.
nice polished look to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's, you could actually like stock up during the school shopping season, like when
Yeah,
all the stuff, or maybe afterwards when it's all on clearance. I don't
yeah.
know. Say I'm
Well,
gonna do,
yeah,
5
at the
CMAs.
dollar. Yeah, at a dollar, and you get a 3-pack of them. I usually just throw out the it comes in this white, black, and blue, and I usually just throw out the blue one. So I guess you could save 50 cents because I just do the black and white ones. But
Nice, nice. Yeah, a lot of times, we've got the Century 21 folders, and I'll use those, for the leave with material. So I'll leave like the marketing material in the folder, and I also like to leave a set of disclosures, for
there
their,
you go.
like, I like to leave homework. Then they're vested then. Anybody else have any best practices or fun uses, successes with CMA, Moxie?
I have one that it's not necessarily specific to Moxie, but just something I include in my CMA when I'm kind of talking about why Century 21 or why me is I'll put stats of like what our office sales are and then what my individual sales are, especially if I'm, maybe more of a high-end client or house, so they can show that, oh, well, she actually has, I don't know, 11 sales in that 5 to 600 price range versus, well, is she only a 200 price range or is she $1 million price range or whatever it might be? And I
Yeah,
have found that to be helpful as well.
yeah, that's a great idea. Um, there, your own stats and the company stats. I know, I think it was last year or the year before, Carla had created some pages in Moxie that we could add to the presentation that had like the company rankings, like, you know, whatever number in the state and however many number of agents in the top 100. That was a nice page to add in my presentation. But and knowing your stats is also important. I could probably say I don't really know all my stats, but I should. Yeah. A couple other things that I didn't touch on. There are a little more advanced features. You can add a co-agent. So if you're working with another agent, you can add a co-agent to the presentation. And there are other presentation templates. There is a commercial presentation template and like a fine homes and estates, and I believe a farm and ranch. Those templates are also under the Century 21 parent templates. So there is a little bit of something for everyone. And I have used the commercial. I haven't used the fine home and estates, but I have used the commercial one. So if anybody else have any?
Is there a buyer's one on there? I think I always see it, but I truth be told, I've never looked at it.
There is, let's see, I can share again. There's a few different presentations. There's a buyer presentation. There's like a market overview. I'm gonna get my computer back to the right spot.
Have you used any of those?
I have, so I have done like a CMA for buyers about a property that they're thinking about making an offer on. Don't know if that's the Let me see if that's the presentation they have. My computer will quickly see. And I have to go back to the beginning. Might have confused my computer. Oh, there it goes. But no. Oh, sorry, my computer is so slow. So there's a seller property review, buyer tour, buyer find the perfect property for your buyer clients, or create a CMA on a potential property. I think that's the one that I used to do the CMA for my buyer that was wanting to make an offer. And then there's a non-listing that I have. So there's many options in there that I haven't even looked at. The buyer tour I've not looked at. The property review, not really sure what that one is, but the buyer one I have used with my buyer clients. It went away. And it's not going to be cooperative. Anyway, yeah, there's lots of good stuff in there to play around with. And it is 10:01. If anybody else has any questions, or anytime I can be of help to anybody, I'm happy to work with, walk through, answer questions on any of the Moxi tools. They're probably one of my favorite things.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Wonderful job. Love, love, love these presentations. And I know Kelly is always available if anybody has personal questions, like she said, reach out. She'd love to go over this with you as well. She is a pro and will help you kind of get through it if it's your first time, or maybe you don't, know exactly where to find all of this. She can walk you through that part too. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for Agent 21 today. Watch your email for our registration for next week. We hope to see you all there. Make it a great week.
Have a great day, everyone.